For those of you who don't know me, my name is Naomi Chungus and I'm an 1800 Akuma player. On my ranked battle journey, I've noticed common mistakes that a lot of players make, including myself. While everyone makes mistakes, these are the ones that I find most prevalent and are especially important to focus on. The first tip I can give is probably the simplest, but still important. Sun Tzu once said, "Before you learn how to fight on the ground, you have to learn how to defend from the air." Whether it be impatience or being uncomfortable playing on the ground, people can and will jump at you. If you show to them that you can't defend against it, there's no reason for them to not keep jumping at you and collecting plus frames. If you struggle with reacting to jump-ins, just remember that jumping is pretty much inevitable. It's not a matter of if, but when. So if you're always expecting a jump-in, it'll be easier to react to. Yes, your mental stack may suffer for now, and you may get hit if you mess up, but keep trying. The more you do it, the better your muscle memory becomes, and it'll become second nature. Air-to-airs are okay, but they shouldn't be relied on if you can help it. They do have a purpose, such as when you want to keep someone from jumping out of the corner, but if you rely on them too much, you'll find that it's much harder to do consistently than if you had just anti-aired. If you have an air-invincible uppercut, there's no reason to not learn how to cross-cut. Cross-ups mess up a lot of people who can otherwise anti-air just fine, so it's an important skill to learn. It's hard at first, but just like anything, if you keep practicing, you'll get the muscle memory down and it won't seem so difficult. If you've seen my other Smoking Cat videos, I've talked about this before, but it bears repeating. Every action you take has a risk and a reward to it. For every fireball you throw, barring exceptions, there is a risk that you'll get jumped in on. For every jump you take, you have a risk of getting anti-aired. So what does this mean? Basically, I mean playing safely when you need to and risky when the time comes. You're going to have to read your opponent and figure out what they like to do, while calculating the risk-reward. It's easier to do this in later rounds because you have more information. This sounds hard, but the easiest way to do this is by getting experience and watching replays. Figure out what you can and can't get away with, and when. Are your fireballs getting jumped in on too often? Then notice the pattern and start predicting a jump. Additionally, don't throw out unsafe moves hoping it'll hit the opponent, because the risk-reward is not in your favor. Sure, it can catch people off guard sometimes and you'll get a knockdown, but there will come a point where you start facing people who can deal with it. I'm looking at you, Manon players. A very common phenomenon I see is that a lot of people don't know how to play passively at all, even zoners. People who play extremely actively can and will mess you up, so what you want to do is adopt a passive and reactive playstyle. This doesn't mean that you can't play active ever, but it's a good habit to build upon so that you can utilize it when needed. Throw fireballs, but only enough to frustrate your opponent and make them want to jump. Walk forward, enough to gain space, but not enough to get poked out. You don't need to go in all the time, even if it feels like you have to. Even comeback scenarios don't need to be rushed unless you're running out of time. Basically, be patient. I cannot emphasize how important being patient is. Especially in lower ranks, and even in Master, waiting for your opponent to fuck up is a good strategy. If you are more patient than your opponent, your chances of winning are much higher. I probably don't need to spell out why trusting your block is so strong, but a lot of people seem to be very antsy about getting pressured, especially in the corner. They either mash buttons or an invincible reversal, which can work sometimes but not too often. Part of this is because Shimmy beats both delay tech and reversals. Wake up reversals has very poor risk-reward, so you shouldn't be doing them too often. Instead, you should be using this as an opportunity to get information. Even if you're getting throw loops, you're getting information. An educated guess is better than a guess. Personally, I like to do a delayed crouching medium punch on wake up. Since it's delayed, there's a smaller chance of me getting counter hit since it won't come out if they meteor throw me. Also, if I'm just gonna take the throw, I'm looking out for drive impact or a neutral jump shimmy. Take this clip for instance, featuring the lovely Elder Goose. Although I'm in burnout, I'm not panicking. I don't need to worry because my health is actually pretty high. Even if I were to get back thrown, a drive impact stun wouldn't kill me, so I'm not worried. I know that the worst case scenario is actually not that bad, so I just block and wait for an opportunity, which did end up showing itself. Even though the situation wasn't in my favor, because I didn't panic and try to steal my turn back, I managed to get out of it and secure the epic dub. Elder Goose, I'm coming on your ass.
Yeah, you better win your fight because I'm coming on your ass, boy. I'm coming for that ass. Pause.
So you start with all this meter, why not spend it? Well, you can, but just be careful with it. Since you start with full meter, it's okay to do a drive rush cancel early to get in a throw mix-up. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, that's okay too. Just play passively and wait for your meter to come back. If you notice that you're low on drive, maybe doing a wake-up OD Shoryuken isn't the best idea. You could be one punish counter away from being in burnout. The ways in which you spend drive can be very powerful, but please be careful with how you spend it. While parrying can be risky, it's a helpful way to regain some drive or prevent yourself from losing it. An obvious one is parrying fireballs, which has the added benefit of not pushing you back so much. Another is towards the end of a block string. Level 3s are also a great way to regain some drive. Meter management is extremely important because of how punishing being in burnout is. Also, stop panic drive impacting. that hurt your drive way more than you realize. The most important point in this video, for me at least, is fostering a learning mentality. Learning is a skill in its own right, which is why people can be good at many different things. Street Fighter is no different. Ranked is great practice, so view it as such. Don't go into ranked just to win, you should be playing to learn. Because if you learn, you get better, and the better you are, the more you'll win. Worrying about your rank or being insecure about how well you're doing is normal, but it doesn't need to hinder you. Getting angry or sad while gaming is one of the worst things that can happen. It's okay to get tilted, but try to have enough self-control to stop playing if you feel like it's going to affect your gameplay. Focus on the match, focus on getting better, worry about the results later while you review. If you've lost points, you can always get them back later. Although you are fighting someone else, you may find that your biggest op isn't Peely, but yourself. Overcoming yourself will help you overcome your ranked demons. None of what I talked about so far matters if you don't do it consistently. The more you practice, the more consistent you'll become, and therefore, you'll win more consistently. People aren't perfect, so mistakes happen naturally, but it's important to make as few mistakes as possible. Make sure to review your matches. It helps if you have a friend that can spot things that you can't. Even if it's just one match, being able to see your mistakes post-match is a fast way to improve. Notice every time you take damage and ask yourself what you could have done to prevent it. Take things one step at a time. The path to improvement is long and hard, so take it slow and steady. Trying to do everything all at once will only make it harder. Special thanks to Jiko for helping me with the script.
Oh, you just did a mistake.
I also do replay reviews, so if you want free coaching, add me on Discord at Naomi Chungus. Good luck in your ranked battles. I've been Naomi Chungus, and remember, take care everywhere.